Today, 38 years ago, I was sentenced to 15 years of political imprisonment for high treason by the apartheid regime. On the 24th of November, 1983, Judge Myburg pronounced my sentence of 15 years and sentence of 4 years for my then fiancée, Yancy Lawrence. The memories of that day are not pleasant. I remember how I was taken down the stairs into the court cells in handcuffs and in leg irons. Subsequently driven in the back of a police van to Sun City Prison, Johannesburg Prison. And from there, the next morning, to the Pretoria Maximum Security Prison, which was going to be my home for the next 10 years until I was eventually released because of the negotiations between the African National Congress and the apartheid regime, and specifically because of the numerous and persistent interventions by President Jacob Zuma to get me released. But I do not want to talk about those prison years now. I want to talk about the ideals for which I went into prison and why I joined the African National Congress. The ideals for a fully liberated South Africa. When I joined the African National Congress in June 1979 in Botswana outside Gaborone, I did so in the belief that we must have full liberation. I recalled, as I was doing so and joining the African National Congress, the words of the longest-serving president of the ANC, Comrade Oliver Reginald Tambo, that ultimately liberation in South Africa will not just be for the democratic vote, but also the full economic empowerment of the majority of black and especially African people. I remember how on Radio Freedom, Comrade OR described liberation as something which coincides between economic liberation and the vote. And he said that if you do not have economic liberation, our liberation will never be full and free. Sadly today, on this very day of the 24th of February, now in 2021, we are aware that the great city of eThekwini will probably be lost to the African National Congress. All the indications are that with the vote on the 1st of November, the results now of coalition government will mean that the African National Congress will lose its control of the capital city of the province of KwaZulu-Natal. We've already lost Johannesburg, Ekurhuleni, Tshwane. We've lost most of the metros. This was the worst possible election results that one could have imagined. Only 46.4% of the small number of voters who did bring out their vote on the 1st of November voted for the African National Congress. I do not overstate it when I call it an unmitigated disaster for the ANC. And those in the leadership of the African National Congress who failed us so dismally, who allowed this to happen through their weak and factional leadership, through the maladministration of the African National Congress at every level, not paying the ANC staff, not getting it right in terms of the registration of ANC council candidates, etc., etc. These comrades, this leadership of the National Executive Committee cascading through the provinces and into the regions, should hang their heads in shame. They should face the consequences of what they've done to the ANC through their selfishness, through their self-enrichment, through their lack of services, through their selling out to white monopoly capitalism, through becoming agents of the rich and turning the African National Congress away from being a pro-poor and truly caring party into a new liberal, I don't know what to call it really, monster of self-enrichment and only caring about their own selves. These comrades should go. They must fall on their swords, take the consequences, take their jackets and their handbags and ship out. Yes, today is an emotional day for me, and of course I'm responding in an emotional way. Today is for me the expression of the terrible experiences that I've had. The long months of detention and solitary confinement, of severe torture, of having lost most of my hearing. All of it. But ultimately it culminates for me in the pain that what we see now, what this ANC leadership is doing to the African National Congress and to the historical task of the ANC is not, most certainly not, why I joined the ANC and why I made the sacrifices that I made. Therefore, my call on this day, which is a fateful day, a day of very difficult memories for me, is on President Cyril Ramaphosa and the whole National Executive Committee of the African National Congress to immediately resign, to take responsibility for their failure, and to go. We need an urgent national elective conference where we will elect leadership that are committed to return the African National Congress to its historical task for full liberation, that full liberation that Comrade Oliver Tambo spoke about on Radio Freedom, which must include full economic liberation. And as part of that full economic liberation, the implementation of the radical economic transformation resolutions of the 54th National Conference of the ANC. The acknowledgement that radical economic transformation is the official economic policy program of the ANC. To stop unholy alliances with white monopoly capitalism, to return the ANC to its historical position as the leader of society, representative of the poor and oppressed, and to finally bring full liberation and the implementation of the second phase of our national liberation struggle, of our national democratic revolution. That is my wish. And with the memories of what I and so many other comrades have sacrificed, that is my insistence. I'm not going to waver. I'm not going to keep quiet. I'm not going to be intimidated whether I get taken to court or whether other comrades get taken to court, whether I get charged in front of national disciplinary committees. I will not waver. My call will remain. The ANC must regain its revolutionary heart, and Cyril Ramaphosa and the failed NEC that he leads must go. Viva African National Congress. Forward with the struggle for the poor, the empowerment of black and especially African South Africans, and the full liberation of our country. Aluta continues.